السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد عبده ورسوله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. My dear brothers and sisters, this is the best of times and the worst of times. We are facing a challenge as a community and a country in which fear-mongering is becoming an official policy of the administration of the United States against minority communities. But also a time in which Americans of all backgrounds are standing up in solidarity with those communities and with the founding principles of America to say that we are stronger together, that we don't throw people out or lock people out or harass people based on their faith, national origin, religious identity, orientation, or anything else. It is a struggle, but so is life. I would not want to be living in any other time or any other place, because the challenge for me is here and now. The opportunity for me, with my brothers and sisters, to face whatever comes our way, and to stand up with a loud and clear voice, and with action, and fight for what is right, for what is just. We belong to a religion whose cornerstone is justice, whose cornerstone is speaking the truth. This struggle to stand up to any challenge, to stand up to any test with faith, with strength, is what we call jihad. Jihad is not holy war. Jihad is not violence. Jihad is not bloodletting or bloodshed. It is the struggle in the way of God, which means in the way of justice and truth, to overcome a barrier or a boulder. So we struggle for the sake of truth together, right? Let us go back and remember that this religion is a religion in which the mind is always conscious of what is happening. It is not a mindless religion. If you are praying, your prayer means something when your mind and heart is in the prayer, not just your body and limbs going up and down. When you're reading the Quran, it means something, it matters, it changes something in your heart when your heart is alive and your mind is alive and conscious of what you are reading, and not simply murmuring words. We are reminded in the Quran time and time again that the greatest gift that God has given us is the faculty of thinking, of pondering. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses us through this faculty, through this greatest gift. الذين يتفكرون الذين يعقلون الذين يفقهون الذين يسمعون الذين يبصرون أولو الألباب, those who think, those who ponder, those who reflect, those who see, those who hear, those who have minds. And so we employ our mind in the way we practice our faith and in the civic and social engagement of our society. And we ask questions and we seek answers and we put plans together and we work in solidarity to change the surroundings in which we live. Apathy is not an option. Sitting it out is not an option. We must rise to the occasion. Also in our religion is the concept of balance. Balance is at the core of everything that we do. And so we balance the notion that God is in charge, which is something we believe, with the notion that we have a role to play to change the environment around us. The two are not in contradiction with one another. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ultimately is in charge of whatever outcome in any situation that befalls us, but that doesn't mean that we sit things out and simply do dua. We do dua, we do the prayer. Remember, prayer is two forms, that of the tongue and that of the action. Dua al-fi'l, dua al-qawl, wa dua al-fi'l, not just raising your hands up without doing any action. And then we do our best, as the Prophet Muhammad said, tie your camel and then pray it doesn't run away. We have to do action along with the prayer. And you will recall that even in the instances of miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do without any cue from any human being, He doesn't need any action to permit His miracles. And yet, in His wisdom, to remind us as humans that we have a role to play in our own fate, even in times of miracles, He willed it that those who receive the miracles have something to do to instigate the miracle. Let us look at two examples. When Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ, was pregnant, alone, in agony, and she was on the run, and she was hungry and tired. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to send to her sustenance, food. But what did He tell her? وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطُ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. And shake with thy arm the palm tree, so that dates that are succulent and nutritious would fall upon you. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need this action? Do you think physically that the arm, the simple weak arm of a woman who's in labor can actually shake this giant palm tree to the extent that the dates would fall down on her? Allah could have just sent it right down. But there was an instigating action that He required. Also in the case of Moses, Musa alayhi salam, when his people were thirsty in the desert, lost, and they were in need of water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Moses, إِذْ اسْتَسْقَى مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ فقال الله فقلنا اضرب بعصاك الحجر فانفجر منه 12 عينا. When Musa was asking for water for his people, we told him, Allah told him, strike the rock with thy stick. And so 12 springs sprung forth with water for the 12 tribes. Again, in what logic, in what physical world does the simple strike of a wooden stick shake the rock so hard that water explodes through the rock? It is a miracle indeed, but it required an instigating action. We need to rise to the occasion and act. In our religion, every time faith is mentioned, action is mentioned alongside with it. There are two sides to the same coin. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Always, those who believe and do good. وَقُلْ عَمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Say, act, say, do. The Prophet will see your action, and those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. So we are in a time in which we are acting in solidarity. Today, as you enter this mosque, there is an action by our neighbors, by our friends, by those in the non-Muslim community of various backgrounds, Christian, Jewish, people who are white, Latino, African American, standing with the Muslim community as we face the challenge of the so-called Muslim ban. Downstairs with their signs, "We are all America." And this is part of a national campaign in 22 states, or maybe even more, and several dozen actions happening today around the country to show this solidarity, to show this alternative face to America, alternative to what we're hearing from the very top in the administration and the White House. But this symbolic action is only part of the other forms of action that we're doing. If you were paying attention over the weekend, you saw the protests at the airport. Again, Muslim and non-Muslim standing together. When our Latino brothers are targeted, we Muslims will stand with them. And indeed, there is intersectionality with many Latinos in our own community professing the Islamic faith. When our African American brothers and sisters are facing militarization in their community, when they're facing being talked down to as if their so-called broken families are the reason for their struggles, rather than systemic racism that started with slavery and went into Jim Crow and further into the penitentiaries and the broken justice system and everything else that keeps them from rising to their potential. When they are facing these struggles as such, and there is intersectionality with many African American brothers and sisters professing the Islamic faith, we will rise and stand with them. Any community that is facing any unjust due pressure, we Muslims will stand with them as others stand with us. And I do apologize. I've been raising my voice for so long in the past couple of weeks, I'm losing it and coming down with something, so please bear with me. But again, my brothers and sisters, let us focus, for example, on the Muslim ban. National security, security in general, is a filter that is meant to filter out the good from the bad. Those who come in for the right reasons from those who are coming in to do harm. That is the logic of any security system. That is the right way to do it. Then there is a filter that filters out Muslim from non-Muslim, white from color, someone from this nation versus someone from that nation. That is not a security system. That is a discriminatory filter. It does not make our nation safer. It makes our nation humiliated with the notion of systemizing and enforcing a law that codifies discrimination in its books by the signature of the hand of one man. We stand against this transgression, not just because it humiliates and agonizes families, good families that have gone through all the hoops, that have done all of the tests necessary and come into this country for all the right reasons, breaking their mothers from children, husbands from wives, but also because it does not make us any safer. If you look at the stories that we were covering over the weekend and before, a woman coming from Saudi Arabia of Syrian origin to see her mother, who had just had a cancer operation, turned back, even though she had a valid visa, a return ticket, a letter from the Cancer Institute specifying for what reason she was coming, and her visa was valid for a long period, but she had a return ticket for just 1 week, and yet she was turned back. This has nothing to do with security. The young Syrian doctor who is in this country to help save lives, to make it a better place, a safer place, was banned from returning after visiting his family abroad. He was on a J1 visa, banned from returning just because he's of Syrian origin. Nothing to do with any security threat or red flags. And alhamdulillah, our brothers and sisters here rose to the occasion and he hired an attorney and had this decision revoked, and they appeared in court with their white suits, Dr. Azaz and others in this community. We always stand up and fight back for what is true and what is just. And the stories continue. You have a filmmaker from Iran who is an Oscar winner for Best Foreign Film in 2012, nominated again for Best Foreign Film, banned from entering the United States according to the executive order, from attending along with his fellow artists in Hollywood to perhaps receive a second honor with an Oscar. Not a security threat. I'm getting calls from Muslims left and right who are concerned about this. Not just people from the 7 designated countries, but from everywhere. Including, I got a call yesterday from a senior citizen in our community. And he told me, I am about to travel. Should I not travel? I said, what kind of visa do you have? He said, I'm a US citizen. I said, where are you going? He said, Dallas. I told him, my dear father, you're fine, don't worry about it. He said, but I wasn't born here. But I wasn't born here. Is that the kind of nation we want? That someone who is a citizen of this nation thinks and believes that they are officially second or third or fourth class citizens just because they were born somewhere that Donald Trump and Steve Bannon don't like? This is a hijacking of our founding principles. This is a hijacking of our security system that always ought to focus on red flags that pertain to individual action, to people's action profile, not where they were born, not huge dragnets that you cast on an entire country or an entire faith and hope that you catch 0.0001% that way. It's never worked that way. If somebody broke into my home and happened to be from Logan Square, does it make sense for me to install security cameras and figure out where the security breach occurred? Or does it make sense for me to just lazily ban anybody ever from Logan Square visiting me again? Not to mention that, indeed, if you look at the 7 countries, there have been 0 fatal attacks against the United States from any citizen of any of those countries combined. Total of 0. The data doesn't support it, logic doesn't support it, nothing supports it. Now, before I close out the first khutbah, I want to let you know that our organizations are working and our allies are working on the ground and in our offices and in the media and beyond with our political allies to try to fight this the right way, and we need your support. Everybody needs to rise to action. You know that CAIR Chicago, my organization, is a civil rights organization. I feel comfortable talking about it in a khutbah because it is a waqf. It is a non-for-profit trust of the community. And indeed, it belongs to you, and it is a conversation of action and how to move it forward to serve you the way that you envision it should, and the way we envisioned it should. One project that we rolled out that you need to know about is called TAP, Traveler Assistance Project. Anybody who feels at risk, or who has a family member or a friend or an acquaintance that feels at risk while traveling given the executive order, should tap us. Tap CAIR Chicago, which means go to the website, cairchicago.org/tap, T-A-P. There you'll find multiple resources, the most important of which is the Traveler Alert System. It is a form, you fill it out, it gives us all the information that we need. It instantaneously appears to our attorneys on the ground, those who work for CAIR Chicago and our partner organizations and allies, who will be there on the date of your arrival to assist you should there be a problem. Also, there is a section that gives you all the current advisories, fact check, because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of rumors, a lot of hearsay. We want to make sure you have the updated information. You'll find that section as well. Many attorneys want to join our attorney corps to help this effort. We have a form there where they can fill it out. It goes into our database and we'll put it into action to help you on the ground and beyond. Also, a form for interpreters. We need interpreters of the Somali language, of Malay, of Indonesian, of Arabic, of Urdu, of Spanish. And so we have a form there, and interpreters who want to volunteer fill it out. Into the database it goes, and boom, we place them on the ground to assist the clients. So it's the first streamlined, automated system of its kind in the country. And alhamdulillah, we're piloting it now, and as it succeeds, we're going to spread it to other airports around the country. So just be aware, please, this is a service for you. If you are traveling, this is part of the action that we need to do. And it doesn't stop there. Our work in the media puts a face, a human face, on this rather technical legal conversation. It shouldn't stop at the technical legal debate. It is about human beings. It is about people who, think of this lady I just mentioned, who came for her mother that had cancer. 15 hours or more traveling. Some of them travel with children. You know how arduous these trips can be. And at the end of it, you arrive only to be put through 5 hours of interrogation as if you're a criminal. And then at the end of it, some in handcuffs, mind you, and in the end of it, your passport is taken, your ticket is taken, and you're escorted all the way into a plane that you have to pay for, and then you're given your documents and booted out, and on to another 15-hour arduous journey. Imagine the humiliation, the dejection, the difficulties that you face on this kind of trial. And this has nothing to do with anything you've ever done. It just has to do with who you are. We must stand up for justice, and we need your support at this time to do so. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم لعلكم ترحمون. Some people find themselves in dictatorship. Some people find themselves in civil war. Some people find themselves in famine. Some people find themselves facing a challenge to their democracy that's draconian and Orwellian. There are personal tests, there are communal tests, there are global tests, environmental tests. Our job is to study, analyze, understand, be informed about what is happening, and to plan, and then to act, to respond to it to the best of our abilities. Life is short. None of us are going to be around for forever, definitely, but not even for that long of a time. And so what we do in this life is ultimately what determines the next life, as far as Muslims are concerned. Let's get to work now. Every test is an opportunity to pave your way to Jannah, to paradise, to do the right thing, to stand up for justice, and to not sit it out. I want to touch on two direct calls of action. One is, as you know, when this sort of thing erupted and all of these challenges to communities are happening and to the constitutional rights of these communities, organizations like ours, CAIR, and the ACLU and others have risen to fight back through lawsuits, but also through the media and through organizing, etc. And I want to let you know that over that weekend of the Muslim ban, the ACLU, mashallah, they generated $24 million in unsolicited donations, 300,000 people. Over that same period of time, our $20,000. So I want to throw it back to our community. This is a time, as the public knows, we, the Muslim community, ought to know as well, is a time to stand up and strengthen these organizations that are our backbone. So I ask for your support for our organization and any other that's on the forefront of fighting this fight. We have also our banquet, our gala, in which is a rallying cry for support. Inshallah, we hope to see you there. It will be on February 6th, February 18th, rather. February 18th, it's a Saturday at 6 p.m. And my colleague Sufyan Sohail is on a desk downstairs selling tickets, but you can also go to cairchicago.org to purchase your ticket. So we ask for your support and for your presence. Lastly, stay in solidarity. Be proud. Be grateful. Don't put your head down. Keep it high. Look at those around you. Look at those stories of fellow Americans who are knocking on doors and saying, "How are you? I just want to make sure you're okay." We're seeing solidarity up and down. As much as you're going to see, and you will see, hate rhetoric on social media, and unfortunately now from advisors to the White House. Pay attention to it. Prepare to respond to it through action. But don't ever lose sight of our brothers and sisters who are there for us, the better face of America, because that is the vision in which we are moving towards, and we must keep it straight in our eyesight. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with love, not hate. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite the people of this country and the world against hate and injustice. We ask God to give us the power of heart and mind to stay vigilant, focused, and working in action to change that which is unjust around us. We ask God to give solace to those who are hurt by injustice. We ask God to give heart to those who are fighting against injustice. Ya Allah, Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana, Allahumma kun ma'ana wa la takun alayna, Allahumma waffiqna ila ma tuhibbahu wa tardah, Allahumma adkhulna jannah ya Rabbil alameen wa atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhab an-nar, Allahumma ighfir lil-muslimina wal-muslimat, al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat, al-ahya'i minhum wal-amwat, innaka sami'un mujib ad-da'awat, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. وَقِمُوا الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. My dear brothers and sisters, as you exit the building, we ask that you